Hey, Daniel. Hey,
Hey.
Raphael.
Hey everyone.
Hi, friend.
So, all right, does
Hey.
anybody was anybody able to come up with an idea or have been working on their third script, second script, first script, and would like to share either their log line, their idea, or if you're finished with your script? I think there's a few of us that are on the third script. I wasn't able to finish mine, but I have my idea. I just want to research it before I actually write it out. So I'll share that with you guys later.
My cell text is glitching and I need Coda to help me because I think I'm going to have to send it through the computer because for some reason my app isn't working and isn't able to send.
Yeah, is anybody else having trouble with it on their phone? Every time I try to download the script from the phone, it doesn't even work.
I remember Charisma said something about her having trouble here. Brent said, same here. I have to do some research.
Well, would anyone like to share any of the ideas they have or?
I haven't quite gotten that far on my idea. I'm working on another script unrelated as well that I came up with the idea a while ago. So there's that.
Cool.
And then
Monday.
But I'm still going to do that one as well. And then, yeah. And then just slowly doing.
Were you able
got a log line for it?
To do the one that was like this last weekend into this week? Because I still haven't finished mine on that either.
The third one, that's the one I'm working on.
Okay, cool.
I have the idea. I haven't written it fully yet. It started going.
Would you like to share the idea or just leave it for to write it?
It's a horror. It's gonna be just a short. It's like it's a couple with a baby, and it's like a dark short.
Cool.
And they end up exploding the baby in the microwave.
What?
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay, maybe put 18 and up in front of your
screen. Oh my god.
Well, you
I wasn't
guys
expecting that.
Okay, you guys are all
dies and the baby's gonna be left alone, but
oh my god.
Okay, so I was going for a walk the other day and it just came to me. So like
a baby in a microwave
dead baby
exploding.
jokes.
What goes on in your head?
Yeah,
creative process of
remind me to never piss her off because like that's what you can come up with at the top of your head. Imagine the torture devices when you're actually trying.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can get pretty angry, but I usually keep cool and I tune it out if I have something upsetting me, or I write it out and I channel. And not exactly. I've never obviously exploded a baby in a microwave, but it's just like,
good,
you know, dark thoughts.
Go to the black web, you'll see that all the time.
Anyone that does like shit like that, just come up with crazy ideas. It's fun.
Yeah,
that is fun. That's cool.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting. Like I'm super curious.
Yeah, it was just crazy. It came out of nowhere. That's all.
I was like, wow. No, but that's cool. Like the fact that you could come up with something like that different and that unique, like I'm kind of jealous because it's not easy. Honestly, I look at these cartoon writers, like I look at the Rick and Morty writers. I'm just like, where did they come up with that? They must have been on some shrooms, like for real. Like so much weird stuff some of these writers come up with. It's just amazing.
Oftentimes, it's a mixture of like the books you've read, the TV shows you watched, and the life and the people that you've met. Just like, so then it's just like you mix and mash all of the things that you've taken in your life, and it just comes out in weird ways, and you kind of put new things together. Oh, it's based off of life, right? So that's kind of like my theory on that. And then I find I like to write darker. People are like, why don't you write? I can write nice stuff too, but everyone has multiple sides to their personality, and I like to put the dark stuff into the work, and then I like
so
to
that
give
you don't
the
end up
loving
killing
stuff
somebody
to my
in real life.
I'm kidding. I probably wouldn't anyway, but you know what I mean. Like it's a lot nicer for me to be super kind to everybody, and then be like, I'm writing dark shit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Plus, I bet it's more interesting. Do you like acting?
Like,
do you like acting dark parts?
Yeah, I do. That's my like favorite because like you could do the other stuff too, and it could also be fun because I mean there's joy to any scene, but like really getting into the nitty gritty is fun. It's like also getting into the mindset of those weird, creepy characters. Because like in real life, you're never gonna do that. You're probably never even gonna meet somebody like that. It's unlikely.
Yeah, they say that the people who write the best horror are the ones that are like the most nicest people you'll ever meet, or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard that somewhere. Like because they would never do something like that in real life, or because they get out a part of their personality or a part of themselves that they don't normally express
Yeah, that's kind of like
easily.
that. If you have something painful, whatever, you just turn it into some weird dark metamorphs into something else.
Yeah, it's the same thing with music. Like, it's I don't remember which study, but there was a study that showed that most people listen to music that's very the opposite of their personalities. Like, a lot of more mellow people will be into like heavy rock. A lot of like very anxious people will be into like jazz or calmer music. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. It's just a
Hey,
way
all
of
right. So
exploring how different
Raphael
different
has a
personalities.
question. He said he has a question about researching for a script. How important is it to research before someone starts writing? Like if there's a character in a specific field of work that uses jargon or whatnot. That's why I actually didn't write my third script yet. I think for me, I think it's important to research the thing and know what it entails, because then when you're writing, it'll be realistic and you'll be able to portray it better and you'll know what you're doing better instead of just making up something. Because whenever see people watch those movies that don't look into it at all, they always just point out the flaws of like, doctors don't actually do that, or this doesn't actually happen like that. It's ridiculous. And it just takes them out of the movie some. So I think it's always better to research and make it realistic as much as you can.
It's
Yeah,
also
that's good.
respectful to
But
whoever
sometimes
you're
too much-
talking about, because like the story that you're telling, it could be personal to someone else, and it could end up, for example, like apparently Sia or whatever came out with a movie about autism, and it had horrible things that were completely wrong, and showed like people with autism making weird faces and
About what?
mannerisms. Autism. Like
Oh,
she made a movie about autism, and it was completely misinformed. There were a bunch of wrong stereotypes in there. There were like kids with weird faces and mannerisms, like imitating people with autism. There was someone being held down, which for people who like deal with people with autism, they know that that is a horrible thing, and that shouldn't be something that's like that's normalized, because holding them down just makes it worse, just makes them more afraid. um so it was pretty crazy, and the community, especially the autistic community, since it's a broad spectrum, were very offended by it. And she kept to it like, oh, I worked with these communities to try to help, like I was doing this out of a good place, even though she basically told everyone to F off. But yeah, so it came off not the greatest. And it's the same thing when you're dealing
Well,
with like,
I guess it depends. Like you were just asking about it being a character in a field of work, which is different than mental health. So it's not as, you don't have to research it as hard.
Yeah,
but
I feel like work you can
like it
get
depends
away
on the
with a
field of
lot
work.
more.
If you're doing like a doctor's office and you don't know anything about like medical jargon, then I would research just to make sure that
research that. And same thing with mental health, because like there's like so many facets. I find mental health very interesting to study, and I've dealt with my fair share of that kind of stuff. And it's a tough one, because it's hard to differentiate between a syndrome and dealing with somebody who's just dealt with something like there's so many different facets.
And you
then
never want to
everyone
dramatize or romanticize. Like finding the balance is really hard. Like, sorry, Sarah, just like making that. I forgot to say that.
or
Go ahead.
for romanticize what?
No, like you never want to romanticize it, but you also don't want to overly dramatize it, like make it worse than it is. So it's a very hard balance to find.
what I was
Yeah.
It's a
what I was
hard one.
more like worried about is like getting to the point where like you're just making stuff up, because it's like I think Brent was saying, like if you experience it, like you can write about it easier, because like you know the ins and outs of a certain situation, or like the whole autism thing, or a job, because you've been there, you know the jargon, you know what it's like, so you can show that in a realistic way, as opposed to if you're like just, well, I don't know, I'm not really sure how to research things like in this way, because if you don't do your research like right or well enough, then I don't know, I just don't want to fall into like making stuff up.
Right.
If I can
like,
just say, like,
what's
and
the
I think
what's
at the
job
end of the
that you're doing
day,
that you have in your script? Like what's the field of work that you're talking about?
Oh, I just had an idea for like I wasn't, so before this I didn't know that like the scripts had a specific thing like prompts that we were assigned. So I came
that
up
was
with
just this one.
Oh,
This is just the fourth one to practice for. It was to practice for the 48-hour film project. If we
so I
do
was thinking about I was thinking about making it like a kind of like a psychological script, and like I had an idea about like some guy, like his mental health starts devolving, and he works at like he's like IT or something, because like it's related to like where I work. So I just do like facilities at the treasury department. So I was like walking home one day, and I was like, it just kind of, the idea just kind of came to me, like what if someone was following me or something. So my idea went to like, what if like there was an IT guy, and like his mental health starts devolving, and he gets, it's like schizophrenia or something, and he starts seeing things in like the corner of his eye, and then in the end, I think I wanted to make like a twist where it becomes reality, and like he actually gets hurt by the things he's imagining or seeing in his head.
It kind of reminds me of a movie I
That's
watched a
That's
while
a
back.
cool idea. I would just be like, I would definitely research schizophrenia
Yeah.
and do that just to make sure you're not.
Oh, a good example. We were telling Chisun to watch this. Gosh, honey, what was the name?
Oh, Undone.
Undone.
On
It's
Amazon.
on
if you have
Amazon Prime.
And-
It goes really well. It talks about schizophrenia, but it does such a good job. Like it has some fantasy elements and some stuff where you're like, you don't know if it's in her head or if it's real. But it does it in such a respectful way to the point where, yes, it leaves it open-ended, but like you don't, but it still shows all the symptoms in a realistic way to an extent. Like there's still fantasy elements, but he does it respectfully, I think. At the end of the day though, you're never going to please everyone. Like that's just a truth that we need to accept, because everyone's experience with mental health, everyone's experience is different. Someone's mental health journey could be different than another's. Like my grandmother has schizophrenia, but a much lower degree. So it's different than someone who's evolving in it.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, it's just like working in the medical profession too, people that work with or deal with a lot of like people like that end up being a little bit weird themselves just from being around it for so long. It's like once you've done first aid, like I do first aid, your view on like having to like save lives and stuff, it kind of changes things. And if you have like a bad call, takes its toll.
Yeah.
But
so the key that
even
I
heart
would give
attacks
you
and stuff,
is just remember to never as long as you don't over dramatize it, like I said, or over romanticize it, that's the key.
Mhm.
And if you're going to do some research, like in the sense of there are a lot of YouTube videos of people reviewing movies about mental health. That's really cool to watch because they're actual sorry, Dana, go ahead.
There's another, sorry, interruption. There's another great example of a movie for that would be Beautiful Mind.
Oh yeah, that's the one. I would love to do a movie on mental health.
Yeah. I mean, they romanticize it a little bit, but not.
No, he has mental health issues. That whole movie.
Yes, I know. But like, there was actually a therapist talking about it, and there were some scenes that were a little exaggerated, but it is a really good movie, because it was dramatized. It's a movie, of course, it's going to be dramatized. Dramatized. Of course.
But the thing is, they have like with
But
these, they can't stay completely true to the job, because if they do a full doctor movie, there is going to be some boring parts. They have to.
I'm not talking about doing a full doctor movie. I'm just talking about respecting your subject matter.
I know.
Like if you're doing a story about a personal topic, make sure to be respectful.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to make it seem like you're making it sound worse than it is, but also not better than it is. But I think that, like I said, you're never going to please everybody. There's always going to be something that people thought you could have done better. At the end of the day, just watch movies that people say have done it good, have done it well, and watch reviews of actual psychiatrists reviewing those movies and talking about the flaws. And also people with, like, there are videos on YouTube with people about people with autism giving their experiences. People with schizophrenia, they've talked about their experiences. That's a really cool thing for you to research.
I would say
Like,
even
go,
just like a little bit of research is better than none, because like some movies you'll have them be like a super nerdy tech guy and they're saying all these words that you can obviously tell aren't real, or that they
Oh
don't.
yeah, like just buzzwords.
Yeah, you know, like, oh yeah, we got to get the IP address from this, extrapolate, and you just saying all these things that
Oh
don't.
my god, hacker movies.
Yeah. So yeah, it's better to just like kind of know at least a little bit what you're talking about, and then when you write it, I think it'd make it easier to write it too, because you know what's going on, so you know how to interweave it, especially with stuff like mental health, where you can like see what's real and what's not.
the best way for me, I
Yeah.
think, would be watching people talk about their experiences. There's a lot of people on YouTube talking about, I'm autistic and this is how I live. I have schizophrenia. This is how my experience is. It's pretty cool, and you get to understand how their mind works. I'm doing
Yeah.
research for a coma right now. Like, one of my shorts is someone in a coma, and I'm looking up the experiences people have when they're in a medically induced coma to be
I
more
can help
realistic.
you in that.
That is kind of cool too, because like a medically induced coma, that'd be like some interesting dreams and stuff. And like that's
Yeah.
the thing, people that come back from weird accidents,
Or out of body experiences.
yeah,
I
that
can
or
help
out of
you with
body
that,
experience,
so if you need it.
you start
You
seeing shit
remember what
differently
went
from
what
that
went down
alone.
with you?
Hmm.
You remember everything?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay, cool.
I think
Yeah,
that's like anything in life. If you have a baby, you're gonna see the world differently too. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, like an accident.
Oh yeah,
Just
literally, like,
when
your
life
brain
changes.
actually changes. The chemistry in your brain actually changes when you are pregnant, when you have a baby.
Or like, but then I'm saying, like, I'm just using it as a comparison with an accident, like how your view of the world shifts when a giant life change happens, whether it's viewed as good or bad. So let's say you move houses to another country, you're gonna shift. If something else happens, you're gonna shift. If somebody you're dealing with has a mental health crisis, you're gonna shift. Yeah, it's an interesting one, health and the way how the brain works. I'd
Yeah.
love to study neuro. That's on
What
my
I
list of things I'd love to do.
Yeah, what I thought was cool was just that they talked about these hallucinations and how they could hear everything, but it was so different, and they had full-on conversations and visions while they were in those. And people said that they talked to death. People said that they saw their loved ones. It was like so interesting. And the cool thing is, I started to write it and imagine it in my mind before I even did the research, and then it just came. And when I was like, you know what, I should do some research on this. And when I did, it was exactly what I imagined, because I went through somewhat of it when I had my seizures. So it was like these weird hallucinations. And I wondered if that was similar. And then I looked it up. Some things are similar, some are not. But I'm glad I did the research.
Yeah,
at
it's
the end of the day.
interesting. It's interesting with seizures as well. Anything that like the brain function, it's like when it has a disturbance, it disturbs the perceptual realities, and that's what it's kind of like part of it. It's not the entirety. There's so many complexities to different mental problems, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird
Anyway,
reactions.
All right, so yeah,
Brian?
Brent, go ahead with your idea for your, I think it was your second script or your first?
Second script.
Okay, yeah.
Come
go
on, Professor. You gotta remember this. The one with the
ahead.
you forgot the
call
first
I
out.
remember
script.
your first one. I just didn't know if you were going to talk about it again or not. That's what I was saying.
No, because I'm gonna still work on it gradually.
Okay.
But the second one, you see, just like what you guys were talking about earlier with doing research and stuff like that, I tend to lately try to write scripts that I have experience with, so then it's easy for me to write
Mhm.
and come up with better ideas and character analysis and stuff like that. But when you guys diving into all these different great ideas with Sarah and damn, I forgot his name. With
Raphael?
yeah, Raphael, when he mentioned some of the stuff, it was pretty cool, that idea with the mental health. But mine's is going to be a father, right? Father works long hours and still tries to find time to spend time with his daughter, who is full of energy. And she basically, every time he comes home, she wants to play, she wants to run, and he's just like damn near falling asleep on himself. And he gets frustrated, and he's like, he feels like he don't want to be coming home anymore, and it's like he's going back and forth, conflicting with his own mental issues of I guess not mental, but being overwhelmed, and being overwhelmed could lead to mental issues too. But
Yes, it
him
can.
trying to
Lack of
adjust.
sleep.
Lack
Huh?
of sleep.
Yeah, like even
Yeah.
lack of sleep can cause hallucinations. That's the
It's
crazy
actually
thing.
true.
Yeah.
Drugs can do that, even weed, even if you
And it's
smoke
like-
too much, lots of shit can cause that kind of shit. Well, I'm just saying, like, there's lots
Exhaustion,
of reasons.
stress. That was another
Yep,
thing I was going to mention,
exhaustion,
Rafa. Like
stress.
it doesn't
Lack of sleep
necessarily even
hallucinations.
have to be schizophrenia. It can
Grief.
just be like stress, you know?
Grief too. If somebody
Lack
dealt
of
with
sleep
like
hallucinations. I did that
heartbreaking
the other
grief, that
day.
can cause fucking crazy shit too.
Yeah. Like if you're exhausted
Crazy
and
how
you're
much
burnt
it changes
out,
the mind
you
for
can
us.
have crazy visions and weird. Go ahead, Brett.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, just mention that.
Sorry, but
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I was listening. All those things you guys said is true, and basically, I kind of want to steal some of Sarah, crazy dark, um,
You're gonna kill the baby too?
no,
Oh my
no.
gosh, what is it with you
I'm
guys
gonna-
and killing babies?
No.
Hey,
I'm
it's
gonna
baby
have
jokes. Like, never heard
he's
of
gonna
it?
have a flashback, right? He's gonna have a flash. What is it? A future? How do you
Flash
do
forward?
it? Flash forward, where he's thinking. I don't know what they call it when you kind of like. I guess in some movies when they have a flash and it shows like what's about to happen, but it really don't happen. That's what he was thinking.
A vision.
A vision. There you go. So I'm gonna have a vision like something what Sarah was saying. He has a vision like, yo, he's just gonna throw the baby outside, close the door so he could get some sleep and leave her outside in the cold. And the neighbors are like, oh, what happened to the baby? And it's like, oh, I can't take it no more. Take her. And then he wakes up out of his vision, is like, oh man, he starts crying and he goes to the baby and he finds the energy, go pop some coffee. And he took a shot of espresso and got up and started playing with his baby girl. And that's the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 okay.
Men can have postpartum depression too, and like
Yeah.
women talk about
Shit, it's happening.
and women talk about that all the time. Like they have these visions of them dropping their baby, of them throwing the like these horrible
Yeah, it's crazy.
things. It's pretty scary.
Yeah,
But
and I guess like
go ahead.
dropping
Sorry.
the baby and stuff. Yeah, and like it's another one too. Like even if like you've heard of somebody else's personal story, you can also have what's it called, sympathy pain as well. There's a lot of different things.
It doesn't make you any less human. Like all of us go through it. Those moments, even with our significant others. Sometimes we want to choke them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's true.
This just got dark.
You do all sorts of like.
This
I
whole
don't know.
thing's been dark. Baby killing.
I think like the
But-
best way is to be able to like talk or like put stuff into art, but it's so I find it to be so controversial because if I do write something dark, people start like getting weird. I'm like, no, but if you are putting like some dark into like writing a script or something, it actually your personality bubbles and gets better. I've noticed that it's like therapeutic, almost like at the same time you get to write cool scripts. It's fun.
Yeah, because you're not holding in that part of yourself. Like it's a way to let out whatever stress or bent
Yeah.
or pent up
I
energy
feel like
you
people
have.
just get offended by everything now, so who cares?
Yeah, that's true. They do. Yeah, you're very
Yeah.
valid point.
Anything can
They
offend
do.
them. So
But like you were saying, the whole
But Brent,
Can't
that
talk
sounds
about
like
this,
such
can't
a
say
that.
the fun story. Like it sounds so
every-
sweet and scary. I just imagine myself reading it and being like, oh my gosh. Oh, okay, it was a hallucination. Oh,
Huh?
oh that's sweet. Like going through so many
like
Danielle,
you're
Lanya, any of you guys have an
emotions
idea?
all at once.
Want to talk about your idea you already have?
to be honest, I haven't worked on mine yet. I've just been busy for 3 days. I'm gonna get it done by Monday.
Okay, no problem.
And
Lanya,
like
what do
you were
guys
saying,
have?
hallucinations with sleep.
What?
I just had the hallucinations with sleep. I just had that the other day.
Oh,
Oh, did you?
what'd you
Yeah.
see?
That happens, man.
I didn't get. I had like 3 hours sleep in 2 days, and I saw a spider as big as two of my hands in my room.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Freaked the
Oh.
hell out of me.
Arachnophobia.
I'm not.
I
I don't
also-
have. I'm not afraid
How
of
about
spiders.
this one? I'm driving home and I'm so tired that I exit and I get into the gas station and fuel up, and I closed my eyes for a second and woke up like, oh shit, where I'm at. And the guy's tapping on the window like, and I'm like, yo, what do you want? And he's like, yo, do you want me to fill it up? And I'm like, what? And I was like, oh shit, I'm in the gas station.
Dude, oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
Holy
You know how
crap.
you wake up and like I literally was like sleep driving, and I was making all the turns because of muscle memory, but
Oh my
I
gosh.
literally pulled into the gas station, opened the thing, and then just put it in park, and it just knocked out. And the guy's like, so when he tapped, I was like, yo, what? And I'm waking up like I'm so confused. I had to gather myself. I'm like, oh,
You sleep drove to the gas station?
Crazy.
yeah,
Holy
Oh,
crap.
That's
yeah, it's like
kinda scary.
sleepiness.
that
I've
was
worked, like,
scary.
Florida
I
can't
just
even
wanna-
sleep drive home from Chipotle. Can't even
Why
wake
not?
drive home from Chipotle.
Yeah, I just want to point out, like, even like, I'm sure it must be a difficult one, like, doctors and surgeons and stuff in hospitals where they have to work such long hours and stuff. And that's probably, why they have to take so much vacation every year. I just like think about that, and you just think it's like regular people, or like, but it's like everyone across the board. If you don't get enough sleep, it can be an interesting one.
Yeah,
Just
I
think
don't know
about
how
those kinds of
doctors do
things.
it. I
They
really
have
don't.
like nap rooms and stuff, and like you can do it for the short term. So say you have to stay up really late, like 1 or 2 days this week, but you balance it out, or even like for a week. But if you maintain that for long term, that's really unhealthy.
Yeah,
So
but
it's like
that's
anything.
always sometimes not always possible, which is what scares me. Like imagine someone being on a
Yeah, especially in
48-hour
emergencies.
shift. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
that's
was-
crazy. Like you have to think like of the support needed for like in those positions, and like the after effects, and if they ever, oh, stressful.
Oh,
It could be stressful.
Melania,
Interesting
That's-
concepts and stuff for film.
as far as the
Yeah.
cliches
All
list,
that, yeah.
That's
we
true.
are we are actually adding a few
wonder about
more to
that.
them on Monday. We're gonna sit down, me and Coda, and add a few more because we saw quite a few that were missing, and we were like, crap, we only thought of them later. So
So
we're
yeah, we
actually
were thinking of
gonna-
some like how in a horror they always move into a new house and it's always like
Yeah.
something sketchy's going on. Stuff like that we saw that wasn't in the cliche
And-
list we already made. We'll probably
we saw we thought of a bunch, and then we were like, crap, this list could be so much
But
longer.
ain't some of those cliches becoming somewhat of like a norm for some of the scary movies when they move to another house? Somehow it follows them somewhere, and some
Yeah, like it's not like the cliches, like I just said in the chat, like the cliches aren't it's not like you can't use them, you can. It's just like you want to try to somehow
Find a creative and new way
like,
to
don't
use
have the house be on top of an Indian burial ground. Like that's just way too been done all the time in every single
Do an animal graveyard.
kind of thing. What?
Oh,
Do an animal graveyard instead.
Sure. Make them haunted little rabbits and
oh God, no. Ooh. I don't know why, but like dead
Haunted
animals
pets.
are scarier than me. Are scarier to me than dead people. Like dead animals are just oh,
kind of creepy and actually kind of cool, actually. Yeah. It would be
dead
have
pet
like little
cemetery.
animals pop out of the ground and just start.
Isn't
Like,
there a
Yeah.
movie? Oh, no,
I have
that's
another
weird.
concept.
that'd be cool.
I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if nobody has one, like I'll just go ahead with mine. Mine.
Oh wait, Sarah was starting something real quick.
No,
Oh,
you
what?
go ahead first, Lakota. I'll tell it to you after.
Oh, okay.
So my idea for the third script on the budget was I thought of a guy in a room in a straitjacket, and he hold on, James is coming in. I thought of a guy in a room on a straitjacket, and this doctor keeps coming in, and he's trying to tell him like who he is, and the guy keeps saying that his name is something else, and each day he has like a new personality basically. And the reason why I want to research it is I'm not sure if that's a real thing or not, and if it is real, I want to make sure that I'm not doing it wrong. But if it isn't, like I can just say that it's like some kind of crazy different medical thing that's never been seen before, and that's why the doctor's so interested in it. But basically what's happening is he keeps having these dreams throughout the sketch that all of his previous personalities keep telling him like, you got to get out of here, this doctor's changing you, he's making you something else, he's trying to change you into this person. And then the doctor comes in and he's saying his name, and he's like, who are you? And he's saying like, my name's John Doe or whatever. And he's like, no, your name's Mark. And he's like, no, I'm not, I'm John. And he's like freaking out. And so the doctor gives him some medicine, leaves, comes back the next day, and it just keeps happening like that. And then at the end, it just shows that it's he can't, like his mind can't stand it, and like he just goes kind of crazy and just kind of sits there like numb at the end. So
That happens.
I'm trying to make sure, like, if there's some, like, I don't know what it's called, multiple personality disorder, I think. Or maybe
We
something
want to make sure that if it is
dissociated.
similar to either disassociated or multi-personality disorder, that he's not doing it wrong.
Because I don't know if it's like in my story, every day he has a new personality. I don't know if that's an actual thing or not. So
I'm not sure entirely either, since I've read up on it a little bit, but I mean, I'm not a medical professional.
That's corny.
It's a interesting one, but from what I know, in the movies they play it up. In real life, it's just a form of extreme PTSD.
Yeah, like disassociated, it normally comes about, disassociated disorder, when you have a traumatic experience, your brain disassociates and creates another personality to help you cope with it.
It's kind of like that. What happens is at distance, it's not quite like that. It's where the actual thing, if you look at it, is where you distance yourself. So say you watch an explosion, you're like, it becomes far away. And then later, if you have a reminder of that explosion, it's like it's like that would be a PTSD flashback.
Yeah, but I mean, like the actual people who have like disassociated personalities.
Isn't it
differently? All the memories are
some of our
stored in
ideas
different
are similar?
places.
Isn't it
That's
funny
what it
some
is,
of
I
our
think,
ideas
from what
are
I know
similar
of
as far as mental?
Oh yeah.
Some of our ideas are all touching on some mental health somewhere, somehow. Whether it'll be vision or trauma or dark baby in a microwave or schizophrenia.
James
it's
had
funny that we all came up with the same like similarities. It's not similar, but it touches on mental health.
But
yeah, kind of.
James said,
because I feel like it makes it an interesting story, and it's easy to do with like one person, which is like the point of like the micro budget.
Yeah, James said, for as good as a movie as Split is, it's a total misrepresentation of what DID is. So try not to feed the untruthful stereotype, basically is what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to look it up and make sure that it's like, if it's real, if there is something that has like every single day they have a new personality, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. And if not, I'm just going to make sure the doctor points out that it's like
that it's different enough,
that it's a crazy medical thing that he's never seen in anyone else, and he's not sure what happens to those personalities. Are they still in his head? Are they going away? What is it? And he wants to,
because I was telling him that like the people that I have seen talk about DID, they've talked about it like, oh, I had a traumatic experience, and like this, every time I have a traumatic experience, or not every time, but like the main ones, a different personality is created or something like that. But it's not like,
so from what I know of
it's not like, and Split is supposed to be multiple personality disorders in a different way, apparently.
Yeah,
it's just very weird. But yeah, so we just wanted to do it in a respectful way, because like there are already so many stereotypes and so many, like, it's cool. The thing about fantasy and like going crazy, like there are a lot of cool things you can do with it, and I think that if you make it unique enough, it can be interesting. But it is very hard to not fall into a stereotyping something that already exists, because then there are already people who think that those people are worse than they actually are. So we don't want to make that worse.
Yeah, like not everyone with that disorder is going to be in a straitjacket in the insane asylum, but in my story, he killed people, so that's why he's in there.
Oh yeah, no, and that makes sense. And there's nothing like, even if you're doing like a story, like any kind of story, films dramatized, I just find it's interesting to know about it, and then you obviously like any story is usually dramatized up anyway, so that's not that uncommon. Why would it be any different for one issue versus another? I mean, even like if you're talking about racism and stuff, the stories are still all dramatized. I mean, is every story that extreme? No. Some stories are.
Yeah, but I still think that when it comes to mental health, it's a
You
new
have to be
thing.
touchy, yeah.
It's a very, because there are people who unfortunately see that as truth. Like every person that's bipolar is horrible and crazy and psycho and pulling a Kanye West or whatever. So
I
like,
think the same thing with disabilities too, not just mental health.
yeah, like for
Same
example,
thing, dyslexia.
for example, I'm visually impaired and people think that, oh, you can do this, or oh, his sister, for example, like this was like a tiny thing. She didn't think I could go to the bathroom. She didn't think I could find, like, she's like, don't you need to go with her? And I was like, no.
Like she can see some.
Yeah, but like she didn't do it out of a malicious place, but it's just like she doesn't know the limits of it. And it's hard to explain that to someone who's just used to seeing it on the screen constantly, like, oh, well, I always saw it like this. So you just kind of have this idea in your mind that this is how it must be, even if it's subconscious,
But
That's an interesting one.
on the
I say
multiple,
do research.
Yeah, that's why I was going to do my research and write it this weekend. I'm still not sure the idea I want to do with the romance because I just don't. I'm gonna think about it this weekend too.
Sorry, Daniel, go ahead.
On the multiple personality part, like to a certain point, I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, like even with my memory loss, I'm a completely opposite personality of what I used to be. I'm an opposite person of who I used to be. Like from losing my memory and becoming a coma and stuff. I became a total opposite. I used to be hyper. I used to be a lot. There was a lot to me that was completely opposite of who I am now.
Yeah, so mental health is a spectrum. Like it can be different for various people.
No, but it's the fact is I don't remember who I was back in the day. Like, and my body basically resorted to a new personality to that. That's what the doctor said, at least.
Yeah, because like if you have like if it's same thing, if you have any kind of like accident, head trauma, you can also have like personality changes because like memory alterations.
Yeah,
like
and
it's brain damage.
But even for me, I have a soft part of my head. If I hit it too hard, I won't remember the last 10 minutes of my last 10, 15 minutes.
Oh shit.
Wear a
That's
hat
scary.
a lot. I'm just kidding. Like what? You should wear a hat a lot.
I can't
Protect that part.
What did you
Yeah,
No, I was like, holy crap, wear a hat a lot, because that's scary.
No, it's fine. Like sometimes it could be a good thing, sometimes it could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
Speaking on another quick,
like Ben said,
James,
though.
did you have the idea that you wanted to share, or were you talking about like next time you'll share it?
Oh no, it's okay. I'll share it.
James, I can hear you.
Oh yeah, that's why I connected from my phone.
Most of the days he's lazy and just like wants to listen. Today he's actually participating.
Yeah. So, I wanted to add another note on them. Just because I've done some research of my own, like read about it. And the other point is that so you have PTSD, complex PTSD, and then you have like more dissociative disorders like dissociative amnesia, and that's where one traumatic event can actually shut your brain off. So then it seems like you have another personality just for memory loss, like being so like just your brain shuts it out because it's too horrific. So then they call it dissociative amnesia, and that's just on the far right. So it's an interesting kind of concept.
So is it like they don't remember how to, like if like let's say if they had a skill, they don't remember how to do it if it's disassociative?
It can, or it can be compartmentalized. So DID is compartmentalized memory. So what happens is it's usually not just one incident, or it's one really, really bad incident at a young age where the brain isn't fully developed. So the brain memory kind of like separates and causes problems.
I've heard people show their books where like even their journals, even the writing is different when they're dissociating. Like the writing of the person completely changes, their voice, their personality completely changes.
Interesting.
Really, but like I said, mental health is a spectrum. I feel like it affects everyone differently, and there are so many different ways. to the extent where we can talk about mental health in different ways and not be disrespectful to a specific thing or not mention a specific thing because it's so different and because it affects like so many different ways depending on who you are. So
and it's like I have another idea on that too as well. It's like if it's like oftentimes like really bad PTSD or dissociative can either come from like going into a horrible thing like war, come from like being in an unstable, unsafe environment growing up. Those things can cause later problems and things like that. So it's just like interesting. And certain ones like schizophrenia is more brain anomaly. Brain is that's why I think they categorize it, because there's actually something going wrong in the way the
but the extra trauma could lead to that too, to schizophrenia. You could go from nervous breakdown to schizophrenia because of no treatment.
Actually, a lot of bipolar people end up dissolving or devolving, I don't know the exact word, into schizophrenia over time. Like that's not like a rule, but I've known of a lot of people that do because of lack of treatment and medication and proper.
Yeah, and it's also an interesting one too. Another theory on this is if you have at a young age, you start having developmental issues, whether that's because you got problems at home, whether it's a brain anomaly, whether you had a traumatic experience, you saw someone get killed, your parent, like you died, whatever it is.
Without us realizing it or not, that's what's crazy about it. Like, we're gonna let James talk because like he never talked. But just to finish, this is like a little personal, so I won't go into a lot. But like, there are things that you don't remember as a kid, and you don't know affect you as much, and then you grow up as an adult and like one little thing triggers it, and out of nowhere you have this irrational fear or this weird thing about people like touching you or like holding you or whatever, and you just or bugs or that kind of thing.
Your
like you
brother
don't remember
held you under with like bugs on you or something, and then you're like don't even think you're scared that much, but then when you're older you're like, oh my god, bugs.
You don't even know why you can't. It's irrational. You don't even know where it comes from, but it's there. So the human brain is a crazy, incredible thing. It's wonderful, but it can also, you can get messed up pretty easily.
That's true. Oh, and I just quickly wanted to add the fact that when people already start having problems, the effect gets worse because it's harder to find stable jobs, and then now you're growing now into an unstable environment, because if you can't hold down a job and you can't hold down family, friends, and that's always changing, that's going to make you because now it's like constantly everything in your world is bad, or you get thrown into a straitjacket. Those experiences too. It's like
moral of the story, everyone.
Yeah,
everyone needs therapy.
Your stress levels rise and everything just gets worse, and then you just
right. Like, can you imagine like you have a mental health crisis and some doctors just tackle you down? You're not fully coherently there, so you don't really actually know what's happening.
Yeah, which is why the whole autistic, you should never hold an autistic child down because that's traumatizing to them. But guys, moral of the story, we all need therapy. Everyone should get therapy at some point. We're all a little crazy, even if you don't think you are. James, you can go ahead
now. Well, it's okay because my idea is also dark.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we're all depressed here. We all know.
I knew this was gonna happen based on our when we were doing our character sheet. You guys had all the
like psycho, murderous tendency.
Murderous tendency. Stuff to write about.
It's fun to write about that
guys.
stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So just a reminder for everyone. So my genre was disaster, my prop was sparklers, and my line was "This is stupid." I haven't actually written anything yet, but I have the log line and the setting and everything. So what it is, it's a family that's trapped under separate pockets of rubble after a mysterious disaster, and they're waiting for rescue, but they don't know if it's coming.
Holy crap!
Huh? That's good.
Where do the sparklers come in?
To see under the rubble.
How do they get sparklers?
Is it to see under the rubble, or
because it's a family? I wanted to set it. It's a family. It's a very heteronormative family. So it's obviously a mother and a father, and then their daughter. Before the disaster, it's actually their daughter's 5th birthday.
Oh
So that's where I know it's to add extra like weight to it, because of course.
Target the-
Yeah, but and that's where the sparklers would come in and whatnot, and it's just like that juxtaposition of, being with your family and kind of not really wanting to be there, but having to be there because obviously, what are you not going to give your 5-year-old daughter a birthday party? But then suddenly you guys are trapped under rubble and you're apart from each other, and I don't know. It's an idea that I wanted to work with.
Yeah,
So
so
everyone's
Yeah,
supposed
I
to
would
hate
just
each
say
other until
don't make
they're
the first part
underground,
too
and then
like happy sappy. That's all I would say.
Oh no!
Because
Of
when
course not.
then something bad's coming if it's like everything's too good. Have them argue a little bit or something. Have it seem more real. That's all
No,
I
of
would
course.
say.
Yeah,
ooh,
yeah,
that's
no,
another
no.
stereotype we should add.
never-
Overly happy beginning.
Yeah.
I never joke. What, overly happy? Me? Never.
No, like an overly happy beginning. You totally
Yeah,
can
but in
tell.
like
like,
all movies, it's just like they're
something
having
bad's gonna
such a
happen.
good
Someone's
day,
gonna
and it's so
die.
fun, and they're skipping around, having the best day of their lives, and then it's
Yeah,
like,
I know. I don't.
someone's gonna die.
I don't do that.
We watch a movie and we're like, if it starts too happy, we're like, okay, who's gonna die? Who do you think is gonna die?
Or who's gonna get in a crash and almost die or something. Yeah, I like that idea. That's cool.
It's a really
is a
cool
cool
idea.
idea.
And it just shows how darker your brain is than mine. Because when I heard your idea, I was like, oh, 4th of July gone wrong or something.
What's a disaster movie?
You took it to a whole other level.
But it's a disaster movie.
I know, but like I thought disasters and like it was 4th of July.
I guess you could have like
I was gonna
fireworks,
buy
cause a
airplanes
fire,
and
and
make them
starts
blow up the
killing
White House.
What?
Isn't that what you want those to take you to another level?
Right? Independence Day.
Oh my
No.
gosh. That was the plot of Independence Day. I've never seen it.
Well, the White House gets blown up in Independence Day, so
They could do
it's a pretty
that.
great shot.
I thought American patriotism wouldn't let
And
you
now we're
do
gonna
that.
be on some kind of watch list since we said White House blow up.
Oh my gosh.
Funny as fuck. It's a
I
great
have
shot
nothing
too.
to
They did
do
it
with
practically and
these
everything
people.
with miniatures. They really blew up a miniature White House.
Oh,
on-
okay, because I
on
was like, I
camera.
wonder how they
That's
did
cool.
that. Okay.
Oh,
No, they
yeah, I
blew
want
up-
to
they-
look into like miniatures, but I don't know where to put that. And do like the.
Oh, yeah.
Guess
I've
I'd be
been,
into
looking, I've been
props.
looking into
Would
it
it be in
because
props or sets?
are you guys familiar? I mean, I don't know if you guys follow too many other like small time creators on like YouTube and Instagram and stuff, but there's this guy, his name is Sebastian Jern.
Yeah.
And he does stuff like that. He does like little miniatures, and he'll film them with like basic, like he has a Sony DSLR and he'll slap a macro lens on it, and he'll film it, and then he'll do VFX work and stuff in post, and he'll make it look like a real shot. And it's
James
all
can make
miniature.
I know
James,
Lord of the
Daniel
Rings
can do
did
the
it too. Like
miniatures.
they had like the little buildings and stuff, and they would just kind of have.
Right, but that's like Lord of the Rings is like that on a huge budget scale.
Wait, Lord of the Rings had miniatures?
Yeah, they had a bunch of miniatures. A lot of the
A
places were just
lot
like
of
little
miniatures.
places. They had a little camera they'd shove in and just kind of like move around wherever they want.
I haven't seen the
That's
behind the
amazing.
scenes
2000,
yet.
so they have to use camera tricks for a lot of things that they didn't have. That they didn't have. That they either realized they needed to save budget for CGI and other things, or like, whatever they could do in camera they did, because a lot of the CGI was really innovative and obviously expensive as fuck.
Would miniatures be
Crazy.
considered props, sets, or something else? Once I put it into the syllabus, because I do want to study into it, like working with them, like filming with
Let
them.
me see.
I don't know what to consider them as.
I think it depends on what you're using them for, right? If you're
I
using them
feel
as
like
a
at that
set.
point that's production design.
That's production design.
Oh, good
That is
point. Yeah.
production design.
Gotcha.
Because we're trying to, but I need to watch the behind the scenes. Like I need to watch the behind the scenes director's cut of Lord of the Rings. I haven't yet, so it'll probably go into
yeah.
that.
It's super
It's okay.
intense.
I mean, it's like the trilogy's already fine as is. I love it as is. I don't think I need it to be any longer than it is.
No, I've watched the director's cut. It's amazing, and yes, it does need to be longer. There is a pivotal scene that is crucial to this story,
All right.
but we're not getting there. We're not going there. But like it's about Saruman. Like we need to figure out what happens to him. But I'm just talking about like the behind the scenes of the director's cut DVD. Like they have like a 4-hour.
I heard Mission Impossible and Lord of the Rings have like some of the most in-depth. Lord of the Rings definitely had it. It was like 8 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, but I've seen I've seen the Star Wars one, which was really, really good. If anyone hasn't seen it yet, it's on YouTube. It's like 3 hours long. So good. So
I
good.
think
Check out that Instagram
everything.
profile that I put in the chat.
Did
Okay.
anybody else have any ideas or anything they wanted to share, or do you guys want me to just go ahead and show the last thing? All right.
Raphael, you really started a conversation, but complex.
All right. So yeah, this is what week is this?
The heck, I can't.
Yeah. All right. So this next week, all we're really doing is just writing out those scripts that we gave the random, either finalize your third script if you can, or if you just want to skip ahead and go right to the fourth script where we gave you guys the random elements, you can do that. But you don't really want, like, we're not really needing it until I think it's around March 8th, whenever we do or March 9th, whatever that Monday is. That's when we're going to be like reading through everybody's random element first draft to kind of see what they did. So we'll look over like what elements you had, and then we'll see what story you've made with it. And that'll be not next week, but the week after. So
Holy crap, this guy's amazing.
thank you.
No, I mean the miniature guy, like, honey,
Yeah,
check
she's
out
not
his
talking about
Instagram
you.
later.
I'm looking at this IG too. I'm like, damn, that's so amazing what he's doing. Like,
I
damn, James, you
know.
need to jump on that, James. You need to get good like that.
Daniel, you can do
That'd be
props.
cool.
Check this
If
guy
you guys
out.
could make some
Send me a
miniatures, that'd be
link.
awesome. Yeah. That would make set production a lot easier.
Yo,
I think
we could
Daniel
get some
Because then
miniatures.
that would be a lot
Daniel-
smaller budget, because you could just be inside a room doing it instead of being like,
Exactly. Act like
go
we
to some
just went
crazy
into
place.
yeah. And blue
Someone
screen
send
the
me a
other,
link
right?
to this.
Yeah.
We could blue screen and green screen the rest and just make the buildings in the outside look like we just walked in there.
Yeah.
Someone send me a link to this.
I'm sending it. Like,
Yeah, James.
so dope.
James, that was a good James got all the hookups, yo. James know everybody.
James
I gotta
does
start.
know everything. But yeah, so just that's all we're really working on next week. So just try to work on the scripts and get them written, guys. And also, if you have like your first script or your second script done, you can work on a script breakdown and then share it with us so we can see how you did it. Because then you also can do the shooting schedule that I sent out. Did everybody receive that, by the way? I sent out the shooting schedules to your emails and to the Facebook, I think.
I shared my second draft of my script, so let me know what you guys think.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
On Facebook?
Facebook?
Yeah, I put it on the group, the Into the Woods too, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
You guys can check that
I'll
out and
definitely
make
check it out this weekend.
I don't know who else is put in, because I've been like every so often I look to see who else is like posted their scripts on the page, and I haven't seen too.
I'm trying to get mine up. Like, it's
Hey, writing is tough because it's so hard to, like, you can easily have creative and writing blocks.
No, but the thing, like, the app doesn't work. Like, it's not letting me
Oh,
send
yeah.
it through email.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's just like you
know,
have it
Final
and then you can't
Draft,
attach
the
it.
app. It was like $10 on the iPhone, so I was wondering does anybody know if that works really well? The app, not the actual software.
If anyone has a Final Draft
So
app.
we would just buy that, and it'd be fine for her. But I know Final Draft's like a really good program, but I don't know if their app is good.
I might look up some reviews on it and see, because honestly, cell text is killing me. It's just, it glitches constantly. It kicks me out all the time. Like, I finally get into a flow of writing the script, and then out of nowhere, it's like, boom, you're out. And it won't let me back in. And I'm just
Or it
like,
kicks her back up to the top. And it's just like, wow, that's annoying.
yes. It's yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, it doesn't do it to mine, so that's why I thought it was fine. But I saw it on hers, and it's really annoying because it keeps kicking her out.
Yeah, and you thought I was making excuses, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whatever, it works for me. But yeah, all right. So yeah, just work on you guys' scripts, and that's it. I'm gonna stop the recording.